Kia ora koutou katoa. I am Sathya Ashok, Executive Director at Social Enterprise Auckland, and it is my pleasure to be here today in the midst of a very extraordinary time. Social Enterprise Auckland is a collaborative project that builds momentum and connects social enterprises together, illuminates their stories, and amplifies investment opportunities. We are building a culture where all businesses consider creating social benefit. In this new initiative, we are creating a series of discussions and conversations with people in different parts of the social enterprise ecosystem to tap their expertise, hear their stories, and look to learn from them. These discussions are not designed to be in-depth ones. They are meant to be relatively short conversations that leave the maximum impact. Today, we're joined by Clare Russell, founder at RecruitMum, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to the series.
Hi, thanks, Sathya. Yeah, really good to be here. Yeah, thank you for the opportunity today for this interview. It's really, I'm happy to play my part in helping to educate the wider community about social enterprises, and really happy to help in this albeit crazy time. So thank you. Yeah.
My pleasure, Clare. Let's start with maybe a brief introduction from you on yourself and the work you do.
Yeah, cool. So I'm a West Auckland-based mum. I've got a couple of young kids, 7 and 5, and I've had my RecruitMum business since launching about March last year, when I came across the idea and really saw a need in the community. And I've got about 15 years experience in marketing, having worked across both the commercial and the non-for-profit sectors. So I think social enterprise for me felt like a real merging of those two areas of my career. I really enjoyed the non-for-profits I worked for and had an appreciation of charities and communities in need and addressing sort of social issues. So it was sort of a natural transition into social enterprise. I didn't know a lot about it. So having sort of started the business plan in March 2019, I started the business from an operational point of view not till about July, with servicing my first pro bono client, which was also an environmentally based company in West Auckland who sort of dealt with compostable packaging. So that was a really nice alignment to have my first client who sort of was in that environmental space. The purpose of RecruitMum is to connect mums into part-time work. So that's sort of a little introduction there before I go on further.
Thank you, Clare. That was a good introduction. What you said that there was a need in the market that you were responding to with RecruitMum. So what was that need? And how do you connect mums to part-time work? How does RecruitMum work?
Yeah, so I think the need for me was around a problem I felt that I had, and I guess any new business idea comes about from a person's usual personal issues or personal problems, and I found there was a real gap in the market for an employment service that really understood the needs of mums and their challenge of returning to work post having children. I'm a military wife. My husband's an engineer in the Air Force, and we've moved towns a couple of times. So I was have been thrown the challenge a couple of times in my life of having to relocate towns, set myself up with a new job, look for a job again, and usually those were sort of, I was searching for part-time work that could both fulfill my career and ambitions, as well as also allow me the time to give my young kids, which needed it back then and still really need that now. So looking at job boards like Seek and Trade Me, I just didn't feel there was an obvious presence of part-time jobs versus full-time jobs, and I totally get that from an economical point of view. There are always going to be more full-time jobs available, but I felt there wasn't a dedicated service out there for mums to address those needs around employment and working in with their kids. So yeah, I decided that maybe to be a solution both to myself as a mum who potentially might be moving towns again one day, that I wanted to create a business that I could take with me, do anywhere from anywhere, and think differently about how I can actually help and solve a societal issue at the same time. A big part of why I sort of went down the social enterprise route was addressing a local need in the West Auckland area, as in many parts of Auckland, around Māori and Pasifika employment. So I was very lucky enough that in the year previous to launching my business, so in 2018, I worked for a health non-for-profit called Neuro Connection Foundation. And in that role, I gained some valuable skills around fundraising and submitting funding applications, which was actually a crucial skill set for me in applying for funding the year later to the Henderson Massey Local Grants Board to access funding to develop my RecruitMum website. So that was a real, sort of valuable story for me to go from having never had skills in fundraising to know what was available, know what local community grants I could access, and that would be of benefit to me as a local business. And certainly, it was great to have that funding and the investment that I otherwise wouldn't have got. And although my recruitment skills are limited, I haven't been in the industry for a long time, but I have transferable skills, and those have been my communication and marketing skills, and they were absolutely invaluable in submitting my application for that funding. So, although I haven't got that specific recruitment experience, I've got such good transferable skills, and being an optimist and someone who really loves to learn and grow and understand different groups, it's been really pivotal in my journey to get me here so far. And essentially writing the website too has been a journey and utilising my marketing skills and trying to connect with the right target market.
It is wonderful to hear your story and how you have kind of linked your experience and learned and adapted new skills and applied it to RecruitMum. Absolutely amazing story. It's very clear that as far as RecruitMum is concerned, you already have a very social purpose in terms of employment and employability for new moms as well as Māori and Pasifika groups. But what other social processes do you think you have inbuilt into the way RecruitMum functions? For example, sustainability or social procurement?
That's sort of a tough question for me. I'm sort of learning more about those issues. I feel in some sense, there is a bit of social procurement in there around the Māori and Pasifika culture, addressing that need specifically to ensure that if I can get more young Māori and Pasifika mothers in the community, either into employment or maybe long-term into the future of recruitment, into education, I'm helping strengthen those families, maybe bringing them out of poverty or strengthening those communities. And for me right now in the startup phase I'm in with RecruitMum, it's a lot about trying to connect with those groups. At the moment, that's a real area I really need to do more work in, is trying to connect with the right groups in the community around those Māori and Pasifika groups, where I can truly understand what some of their needs are, where the gaps are, and then how I could incorporate that into my business. There's a lot of learning for me that has to go on there still, but yeah, that's probably the one that I can think of at this stage.
Tell me a little bit about how the process works at RecruitMum, in the sense that if I'm a mum, do I come onto your website and look for a job? If I'm an employer, do I come to you and advertise one? How does it work?
Yeah, so at the moment, RecruitMum works like any other traditional recruitment agency. I've started that because that's what I know, that's what I understand, that's where I've had my own experience. I've dealt with recruiters myself, both here and in the UK, looking for work. So I have an innate sense as a customer of how they work. So that's sort of where I've set up as my base model. However, that's not how I see the future of the business operating. I think that's been done. I think employers understand the challenges around recruiters, and the time and the money, and often the reputation they have in the industry isn't always great. So I don't see value in that long term. So what I'm really keen to do is, I guess, pivot or change, and this will be a challenge long term, into something that connects the candidate with the employer. So while I still do a lot of active engagement with candidates to help them build their resumes, represent them when they apply for work, and then obviously do a lot of my advertising on LinkedIn, longer term, I think it's about actually creating a smarter platform where candidate and employer can connect directly and actually omit the recruiter at all. It's sort of the bigger goal of what I'm here to do. So at the moment, in July, I'm meeting with a business advisor through ATEED, with a regional business partner network, and he has recruitment experience and a wealth of business experience as well. So I'm really hoping after that sort of session, those 2 sessions with him, I can pin down what an IT platform could look like that will better connect candidate with employer. So yeah, although I sort of operate as a traditional recruitment agency, one where candidates will come to my site, register, submit a CV, I'll represent them, connect them with an employer. So, employers can register with me as well. That's how I operate now, but it's not how I want to operate in future. So it's a big challenge on my horizon. So trying to start small and work my way up.
I think starting small and growing big is pretty much the story across a whole lot of social enterprises here in New Zealand and everywhere around the globe. While you walked a path from March last year, what were the challenges that you faced along the way? What were the challenges when you started off initially? Did they evolve over time? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, challenges were plenty. I think, the 3 big ones were time, money, and that specific recruitment experience. So, additional to my business, which I've been trying to slowly grow since March last year, I have a part-time job myself. So I only have a very limited number of hours per week. So it's really my afternoons, evenings, and on occasion some mornings that I can devote to the business. So I try and mitigate that by filling in as much time as I can when I'm not at my part-time job. Money was a huge challenge at the beginning as well. But as I mentioned, my skills that I gained through fundraising in my role previously in 2018, I knew there was some kind of funding I could access, and so getting that grant from Henderson Massey for my website was hugely appreciated and a real value to sort of getting my online presence kick-started. And then it was really just a matter of pushing through my social media marketing activity. Regarding my recruitment experience, although I dabbled in recruitment a few years earlier for my sister's business in the UK, she was a physio, had a physio recruitment business. I had some good friends through connections in Toastmasters. One woman called Helen Campbell, who had owned her own recruitment business for about 20 years, called Top Dog, and she was a real valuable sort of mentor for me really in the first few days or weeks and months of questions that I had, and asking what the issues she had then and now and how they've changed. So I really mitigated that by seeking out those who had the knowledge, had the experience, and really it was just a matter of me then translating that into my market, into my social enterprise business model.
You mentioned that you are looking forward to a meeting with a business advisor at ATEED and looking to tap that expertise. What path led you to ATEED? And, is that something that you would recommend other social enterprises consider as well?
Yeah, so there was so much information out there, and sometimes you just don't know what you don't know. And what really worked for me well in the beginning was having a business mentor, one that I actually paid for. My friend Helen was, just a one-on-one friend that I could go to for free advice, thank goodness. But through business mentors, I was assigned John Peterson, who was really valuable to help me write my business plan and make me aware of what was out there and what was available. So ultimately, through his connections, he was able to point me in the right direction to sites like IT, the Regional Business Partner Network, and through them and just doing my own research, I came across a business advisor who I had a meeting with, and she basically got me to do a one-page business plan that she may pass on to employers. So she was in one way someone that would help refer me to other employers who actually needed to recruit new people or new candidates into their organisation. So I met with her initially, and she referred me to some business advisors. So based on her referral, I'm meeting with a gentleman from Wolf and Fox in July. Toft Grumbly is his name, and so that'll be, I hope that'll take me to sort of the next stage of thinking about, a pivot, or thinking about more around this IT platform I have in mind for the business. But in terms of my recommendations to others, it's really trying to get a one-on-one person to give you that guidance, give you that knowledge, and tell you what's out there, because otherwise you don't know what you're looking for. I think for me, anyone starting a business for the first time, there actually is so much out there. You've just got to go looking for it, and you need to know where to look. And having those one-on-one connections to tell me that has probably been of most value in the long term.
Can you tell me a little bit about your funding model now, and also a little bit about how many employers you have and how many candidates you have, and how you'd like to see that evolve over time?
Yeah, so at this stage, I just operate as a sole trader. I am RecruitMum. I'm the sole employee. In terms of my my funding model, I don't really know what that is at this stage. It's based on what I know about social enterprise is that 50% of your profits are regenerated back into the community. So what's been tricky and challenging for me in the beginning is setting the right price point. I guess to be competitive, I've tried to set my recruitment fee below my competitors, but and thinking about some of social enterprises' purposes, which are around profit, people, and the planet, it's not really hitting that profit margin. I actually need to be probably as competitive or as seen as much of a quality service as anyone else by having a fee that's standard across the market in order to generate that profit, in order to say actually, my business is of value. This is a social business thinking about the wider community, and that's sort of where I need to incentivize employers to work with me. So it's very much a challenge in that growth phase, because it is just me, and I have a part-time job that I still have to consider. So until I can make some kind of change in my business model or direction that sort of will give me that growth spurt that I need, I can't quite think of stepping away from my part-time job just yet, but that'll come in time. And I hope, I'm not quite 1 year in business yet, so come July this year, which looking pretty doubtful given the COVID-19 situation. Who knows what will happen, but I'm an optimist, and I'll keep going, and any small improvements I make day to day is all I can really ask for.
Thank you, Claire. What are the challenges that you face today, especially in light of the COVID-19 situation?
I think a big one for many has been the whole business confidence. The year started out so good. Everyone was thinking, 2020, it's an even number. It's a sort of a whole new exciting year. And for me, I was just starting to invoice my first clients. It was really exciting. I was actually generating income, and from March, things have changed dramatically. And I've really had to my part-time job's actually with a health organisation. So I was sort of frontline working with an essential service. So my business took a real back foot, unfortunately. And I really had to throw myself into the work of my part-time job. I was doing a lot of overtime, and I guess my business has really suffered as a result. But what I have tried to do is just connect with candidates to see how their situation is, support people one-on-one as much as I can, touch base with employers, try and understand what their issues are. So the confidence hasn't been great, so that's certainly been a challenge. But also, I do see there's an opportunity. So many people have been displaced from their current jobs. Many have lost their own jobs. So unemployment is spiking up again, which means we've got lots of candidates looking for work, which is good, but then we don't have many employers hiring. So I have been trying to look at other industries. I know the fruit picking and obviously in food industries are really seeing a boost in employment. So I've tried to look at different industries there and where I could help. But I think again, as a business owner, a lot of our confidence has been shot a little bit, and worrying that we don't know. The future's uncertain, and it's hard to know what's around the corner. So just really going day by day at this stage, and trying as much as I can to be positive.
Do you believe that New Zealanders generally understand the role and structure of social enterprises?
Yeah, I thought long and hard about this question. I think probably no for the most part. I think it's kind of a new concept, a new idea. I wouldn't say it's a household name. I really learned about social enterprise through my experience having worked in non-for-profits. And I was somewhat aware on the surface of what they were about, and it was only through going down this pathway that I'm much more knowledgeable now. And being connected with Social Enterprise Auckland has been great in terms of the connectivity I've been getting and the networking opportunities I've been getting with other social enterprise, learning about their issues, their problems. Having the opportunity to speak to people in the industry has been really valuable. So I think, it's not well known. I think it will probably take a level of education at the secondary school level, starting to teach kids about other forms of business that are out there, not just commercial or charity, and how social enterprise sits in between those. A bit of education, I think, and maybe a documentary or something around social enterprises in New Zealand on TV would be a great way to highlight that for more New Zealanders, because I think we are a socially conscious nation. We are becoming more socially aware. We want to purchase more socially. We want to know where our products are coming from, how they're being made, and we want to know that our purchase is going to do something good for the wider community and not just that business owner. So a lot of education and awareness really is still ahead of us.
What beautiful ideas there, Claire. Secondary school, love that one. Definitely something that we should be looking at. And how do you think the central and local governments can support and enable more social enterprises?
I think this is a really tough question. I think the best way for me to answer it is, I think from a local government perspective, awareness of the grants that are available in the community. For those people who have the impetus to start their own business, need to know what's available to them. I get a couple of really valuable flyers in the mail. We have our Massey Matters flyer, which I just looked at last night actually. Some of those are really great in terms of informing people about events in their local community, funding applications that are opening that might be of interest. I know we have one here that gives grants up to the value of about $1,000 for events or what have you. So those things are great. I think from a central government point of view, perhaps, again, more work with the ministries, like the Ministry of Education, and maybe thinking about scholarships that they could create either at a tertiary or a secondary level, highlight regional problems, regional issues that may affect the young. I mean, the young are our future, and I think the more we can educate them about social enterprise, and the more they might be inspired to, build one day. So there's so much that could be done.
That's absolutely fabulous, Claire. Back to we've kind of gone through the list of questions here, and just wanted to touch base and check with you. Is there anything else you would like to add about social enterprises, or anything that you think will provide some guidance, some tips to any social enterprises out there?
I think for me, I think what I've mentioned that has worked really well is having one-on-one guidance with someone, whether that be a trusted friend that has been there and done that and has done what you want to do. I think the best advice is if there's something you want to achieve, whether it's a business ownership or business success, then find someone who's done that very thing. So that's really helped me, that one-on-one guidance, getting into social enterprise. From there, it's been a lot of my own research, having a passion. I think that's a big one too for me. Establishing RecruitMum has come out of a personal problem that I found between trying to find work, not being able to, not seeing enough part-time work out there compared to full-time work. And so that was, I saw a gap in the market, I saw a problem, and for me, that was very personal. And I was also very passionate about helping others. Both my parents are teachers. We have a real, love of coaching and helping others in our family, and I've done that through my career, whether coaching athletes or teaching young kids. For me, social enterprise is about people, planet and profit. If you have a passion in one of those areas, today's world, it's certainly about people, given the current crisis and how we can help those most in need. If you have a passion and you have a goal or ambition in life, then think about what's really personal to you. And you don't necessarily have to have a lot of knowledge, I don't think, in the area you're looking to get into. I think with the right attitude and the right connections, working closely with those that you need to, I think there's lots of solutions out there for you. But I think for Social Enterprise Auckland as well, in terms of people being more aware of the organisation, I'd love to see them being acknowledged either through more radio time or TV time, whether that's a documentary or something about social enterprise as a phenomenon in New Zealand, and have that story play out into how Kiwis think, and how we are very becoming more socially conscious and wanting to purchase more consciously. So some ideas there.
Those are wonderfully appropriate and relevant points, Claire, and I think a great way to bring this discussion to a close. Thank you very much, Claire, for making the time today and for joining our series. Thank you to everyone who's listening or watching. Social Enterprise Auckland will be back with more soon. Until then, stay safe and take care. Kia kaha.
Thank you.